Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Ainar. The title of this video is Terror Shall Make Him Afraid on Every Side. Right, and this is pursuant to Job, the 18th chapter, and it's talking about the wicked, right? Esau, Edom. Job 9:24 says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, right? And we know Esau, Edom is currently ruling, and what they have more troubles, to deal with, which is Turkey. The scriptures say in First Thessalonians 5:3, but when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as to dwell upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And pretty much that's where we're at. Ever since this cruel Lord Donald Trump took office, nothing but hell has been breaking out, right? And these are the signs, that we've been looking for to measure the time diligently in itself. I got here Isaiah 19 and 1 going to that cruel Lord. This is Donald Trump. This guy Donald Trump is bypassing all laws, right? He's not adhering to the Senate or the courts or the judges. He's trying to get judges arrested. He's trying to sue them or press charges or whatever. That's what his Secretary Levette is saying. When the individuals ask her questions about what's going on, they basically are against the judges, and basically the Senate or the judges trying to tell Donald Trump what he can and can't do, right? But we know exactly what's going on. These devils are bringing in order out of chaos, right? They're crashing the system so they can roll in their 2030 agenda, which goes into that MOTB, and the digitalization of the world, pretty much. Right? That's why you have this new digital currency, coming forth, right? But at the same time, they're trying to secure their spot, right? So it goes into a lot because they, like I said, and I'll grab it real quick, and we'll get all this again. But Job 18 and 11, it says, "Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet." Right. So these devils have a lot to deal with, right? And that's what I'm going into. But anyway, this is Isaiah 19 and 1. It says, "The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh ride upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it." Right. So that's Lord Yahweh Shai coming, with the chariots, and the angels with laser beams shooting forth from those chariots, right? Pursuant to Second Esdras the 13th chapter, right? And also the Lord's armory being open, which is the nuclear weapons, pursuant to Isaiah 54 and 16. All right, this verse 2, it says, "And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." Right, and that's that's soon to come, and it's already happened. We're seeing upwards of the people, right? And pretty soon, as they continue to crash this place, right, we already there are talks of a recession, right? There's talks of inflation, higher prices. People are losing jobs. They can't pay their bills. So pretty soon these people would take to the streets and try to get it the best way they can. Pretty much, it says, verse 3, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof." Right. So the wisdom of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, right, is failing. Right. He has no more knowledge, and he can't go about things as smoothly as he did before. In secrecy, using deception. He's been caught out there. Shameful spewing is being put on his glory. Everything is pretty much at the forefront, and this is all in the hand of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because he puts it in the mind for these devils to do what they do, and we had that incident where they sent the text messages to and it was all shown, whether it was an accident or on purpose. This is the time period that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has these devils living in, because shameful spewing is on their glory, and they're inching towards the end, and nonetheless, it could make your enemies think that you're incompetent, right? You're retarded or something, just secret information like that just being put out to the open, on actually whatever the case may be, so it gives the enemies a sense of, okay, they got this under control, whatever the case may be, and that could even go into that Ezekiel 38, where the Most High says he's going to put it in the mind of Gog, Magog, which is Russia, the land of Russia, to come against Babylon the Great and Israel. So all this could be leading up to that point where Russia is like, looking at was peeping what's going on, watching Donald Trump, watching this guy Benjamin Netanyahu, right, and saying, they're for the taking, pretty much. Anyway, verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. We seen that the dude Pope Francis tried to go and open up a portal, and this man almost died. Right? He looked real bloated, like it's all a bunch of pus inside his body now or something. They say he's doing fine, but that should have been a wake up call to these devils, right? They did the end. That left hand source magic ain't really working like it used to work, right? That's why you got Isaiah 47, where the Most High says, stand now with thine enchantments as they did in thy youth, right? And he says, see if it's going to help you, and it basically is not, right? It says that you'll be completely destroyed. So that should have been a wake up call to these devils. You got I was about to say something, I forgot what it was. Anyway, verse 4, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Lord of hosts. Right, and we know that these banking elites, these devils are ruling the world, right? These banking elites, the Rothschilds, that's one of them, right? And then they're puppets like this guy, Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, right? Because you always see these puppets, right? You always see them there at the forefront, but you don't see these banking elites that's hiding, that controls the money, right? These people control the money, they have the power, right, to, take people out and things like that if they need, because everyone is in their pocket. You know how it is in the, back in the day, or the case may be, or even now. You watch the movies where the cops are paid off, right? You got some YNs on the street paid off. Judges and lawyers are paid off. That's how these bank elites run the world, and that's how they control it, because everyone is paid off because they control the money. So, verse 4, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the Lord of hosts. So that's the point. This cruel Lord is Donald Trump, right? He's the puppet that's at the forefront, and he's bringing in the will of these banking elites to basically, start rolling in that 2030 agenda. But anyway, the terrorists, they have a new terror. We've been prophesying on this thing. The elder apostles of GMS, Elder Pastor on down, been, prophesying a lot longer, right? And now these things are coming to pass. But Turkey has entered into the fight, basically, so this is another terror. And I believe this is one of the main reasons why this guy, came over to America to, talk to Donald Trump, because they have a major problem, and that's Turkey.
Problem that you have with Turkey, I think I can. Any problem that you have with Turkey, I think I can solve. I mean, as long as you're reasonable. You have to be reasonable. We have to be reasonable.
All right, it says Turkey accuses Israel of expansionism after Syrian airstrikes. All right, so basically, what they're trying to expand, and I mean, I don't know how, they said they want, the Greater Israel, and that Greater Israel plan is expansion. So I don't understand why he's accusing this dude of it if he's gonna, that's their goal. But anyway, this is Habakkuk 2 and 3. I started 3. It says, for the vision is yet an appointed time that the end shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Right? And that's what we have. We have, pursuant to Ezekiel 38, which I'm about to get, Turkey entering into the battle. The scriptures say that Russia will be joined with Turkey and many others, right? And, each time another enters into basically coming against Babylon the Great or Israel, we bring that out. So, you can know. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith, right? So this Esau Edom is not right. He's not upright, right? It says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death. And that's what that one is, that policies, his laws, right? things that he had prescribed, like the Balfour Declaration. He transgressed that thing heavily because even in that Balfour Declaration, it says that you can't do anything against the residents that's already there, the Palestinians that's there, right? And they're obviously killing ambulance drivers and burying vehicles and bodies, right? It says, yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. Now to keep it at home, right? So he think that piece of paper, helped him take that land. It says, who enlarges desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. So they're not satisfied with the little piece of land they got. They're trying to take the Gaza Strip and then take more land, branch off into Syria, branch off into Africa, right? And this is what's going to draw them to World War III. It says, but gathers unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that laid himself with thick clay. And that thick clay is the Hebrew word abatya, right? Which goes into debt, money. You grab that. And that's why what? Trump is bringing these tariffs, crashing everything, all hell breaking, because they can't afford to pay the debts that they got. Right, it's about yet weight of pledges, heavy debts. Let me see.
Strong's H 5671. Avteet.
About yeah. See, so that dude said it really wrong. So anyway, it goes into weight of pledges, heavy debts. All right. So yeah, you got Trump, this cruel Lord crashing everything, right? They're trying to bring in order out of chaos. It says Habakkuk 2:7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for bruise to them unto them. So these devils, they're gonna come against these other devils, and basically tell them how long are you gonna continue to increase, what you're doing. Let me grab this. So this is another problem. Trump offers to broker peace between Israel and Turkey. Why is that? Let me grab that. Here we go. We got a map. And this is an ancient map of like the ancient lands, right? Or the names of the ancient lands and what they was called pursuant to Bible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up Ezekiel 38 here, and then you can look while I read. So we got Meshach and Tubal, we got Magog, right? We know what this is. What is this? Russia? What is this? Turkey? What is this? Germany? What is Ukraine right here? So we got Turkey right here. We got Syria right here. We got Israel over here, Lebanon, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, which is Persia, right? Iraq over there. Yemen, where it's going down that. We got the Straits over here. See, this is the Middle East where it's all taking hold. So anyway, Ezekiel 38, verse 1, it says, and the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. So the Magog, which is Russia, is the chief prince, leader of Meshach and Tubal. And Meshach and Tubal is what? Turkey. See? It says, and prophesy against him. So it's prophesied in the Bible that Turkey will be joined with Russia, because Russia will be the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal and many others. It says in verse 3, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling swords. So this they're going to be going to war. It says Persia. What's Persia? Persia, Iran, right? We see what right now Israel and America has a problem with what? Iran. Israel and America has a problem with what? Syria. Israel and America has a problem with what? The Yemens, right? The Houthis. They got a problem now with Turkey. So each, as we continue on, we see that these different nations mentioned in Ezekiel 38 are joining themselves against America and Israel, meaning they're going to join themselves with Russia, right? It says Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmets. So all these people around Israel is going to come against Israel in America. That's why Job 18 and I believe it was 11 says what it says. Terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. See? It says Gomer. Where's Gomer? Over here, Germany, right? And all his bands, the house of Togomor of the north quarters. Where's Togomor? Turkey. See? It says Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomor of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. It says, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. It says, after many days thou shalt be visited, and in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nation, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. And basically, verse 8 is going to what? The fact that America is providing for Israel, billions of dollars. That's how they can somewhat keep up, the lands and picture greater Israel and things like that. Verse 8 says in the NLT, a long time from now, you will be called into action. In the distant future, you will swoop down on the land of Israel, which will be enjoying peace after recovering from war, and after its people have returned from many lands to the mountains of Israel. Right. So, it could be when they do a ceasefire, they could stop for a little bit, and then Russia just get that thought in their mind to come against them because they're planning for something. Last time they had a ceasefire, they went into Syria, and did what they did, took over. They crippled the regime that was there. Assad left. He's now in Russia. Now there's a new guy there, and that new guy's joined with Turkey, right? Verse 9 says, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. See, and then verse 10 says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. Right. And this is Russia having that evil thought in their mind and say, I'm going to go against America and Israel. Because why? For the most part, all they got is, this Iron Dome thing. And the Iron Dome can only do so much. Russia has a missile that tops everyone in the world right now. Right. It bypasses its supersonic speed. It bypasses all defenses. So this is a terror for them. They're struggling.
We also discussed the situation in Syria. We've had neighborly relations with Turkey that have deteriorated, and we don't want to see Syria being used by anyone, including Turkey, as a base for attack in Israel. Turkey is a country that has a great relationship with the United States. The president has a relationship with the leader of Turkey. We discussed how we can avoid this conflict in a variety of ways, and I think we can't have a better interlocutor than the President of the United States for this purpose.
Well, I have great relations with a man named Erdogan. Have you heard of him? And I happen to like him, and he likes me, and I know the press will get very angry. He likes Erdogan, but I do, and he likes me, and we've never had a problem, and we've gone through a lot, and we've never had a problem. We've always got, as you remember, we got our minister back from Turkey. You remember that? And this was a big deal at the time, and we got him back. And I told the prime minister, I said, just, Bibi, if you have a problem with Turkey, I really think I'm going to be able to work it out. I have a very, very good relationship with Turkey and with their leader. And I think we'll be able to work it out. So I hope that's not going to be a problem. I don't think it will be a problem.
It's a major problem, right? Donald Trump has been saying that he will work out all problems, day one, 24 hours, whatever the case may be. And none of that has happened. Right, he has a problem with Russia. He has a problem with Taiwan and China. Matter of fact, I need to look up because recently I heard that South Korea is no longer an ally of America. Right, so that may be a problem over there. He has a problem in with Israel and Lebanon. He has a problem with Israel and Syria. He has a problem with Israel and Turkey. He has a problem with Russia and Ukraine. You know, they have a lot of problems that they can't seem to fix, and that's because, once again, First Thessalonians 5:3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then certain destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So what? When a woman is giving birth, you know, the pain, you know, it's not slack. It's there, right? That's what it's talking about.
Now, with that being said, I believe it was Turkey, and I said that to him. I said it. I said, congratulations. You've done what nobody's been able to do in 2,000 years. You've taken over Syria with different names, but same thing. I said, you've taken it over. He's taken it over through surrogates. He goes, no, it was not me. I said, it was you, but that's okay. You don't have to say, well, it sort of maybe was me. Okay. But what he did, look, he's a tough guy and he's very smart. And he did something that nobody was able to do. You know, you got to hand it to him. Any problem that you have with Turkey, I think I can solve. I mean, as long as you're reasonable. You have to be reasonable. We have to be reasonable.
All right, so you know, we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens with that. But the prophecy says what it says, right? They're going to war. There's no fixing it. You know, I just read. Where is that? Let me see. Let me grab it right here. I believe it's where's the Nahum? Yeah, it's Nahum 3 down at the bottom. It says Nahum 3:19. It says, there is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap their hands over thee, for upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually. See, so Israel and America, it ain't no healing, you know, that wound, that bruise. They will be destroyed. Let me grab this real quick. Jeremiah 51:9. It says, we will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky. See, so the judgment is against Babylon is there, right? You know, it has reached up to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and there's no escape. Let me grab this Job. You can just look at this map right here. You know, and then you can read Ezekiel 38. And when you read Ezekiel 38, you can look at this map, and it probably better help you understand what's happening. But I'm about to read Job 18. Job 18, it says, yeah, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. It says, the steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. See, the Most High said, basically he perverted the counsel of Esau Edom, right? There's no more counsel in Esau Edom, right? The scripture says there no more wisdom in Teman, right? Because what? The Most High took it away. So now his own counsel is casting him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet and walketh upon a snare. See, so whatever he did, he did it to himself. Right? He didn't think of the latter end of this. It says, and that goes all the way back to asking Jacob, you know, for some of his pottage, right? When he sold his birthright. Anyway, it says, the jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. And that's his enemies, right? And Turkey was supposed to be a part of kind of NATO EU. They got some type of, you know, strategic deal. You get Obadiah 1 around verse 7, right? They have brought this, you know, they're against him. I'm gonna grab it real quick. Obadiah 1:7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy. I'll grab it in the NLT. Obadiah 1:7 NLT. It says, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. So ain't no deal, right? Ain't no working it out. They might try to work it out while they prepare, you know, kind of like they did with Syria when they did a ceasefire. Even Russia, no, they wanted a ceasefire with Ukraine and Russia said, well, if we ceasefire, then you're just going to bring weapons to Ukraine to arm them. So we're not gonna do that, right? And then I started seeing YouTube videos where there was like Russia broke the ceasefire. I was like, well, they never agreed to a ceasefire. But anyway, that's Esau spinning the lies of the narratives on you people, right? That's why you people, hey, it's gonna hit you like a thief in the night because you don't know what's going on and you believe in your enemies, right? You're trusting in Egypt. So anyway, verse 7 says, all your allies will turn against you. All you need is the scriptures. The scriptures tell you everything you know, right? They will go to war, all right? All your allies will turn against you. They will help you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. So they're setting traps for America. They're setting traps for Israel, right? Going back to Job 18, it says, at verse 9, it says, the jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. In the NLT, it says, terror surround the wicked and trouble them at every step. Verse 12, it says, his strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. That's going to see Yahushua. Why? Because Yahushua, pursuant to Ezekiel, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, is coming, right, to destroy this devil. It says, his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors, right? So what? The part of thine heart have deceived this devil, right? It says, it shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. It says, his root shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branch be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street, right? And because what? Psalm 49 and 11 says the inward thought is that their houses will, let me grab it. Psalm 49:11 says the inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They called the lands after their own names. But Yahweh Bashim Yahushua said none of that, right? It's verse 17, Job 18:17. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from the light into darkness and chased out of the world. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. They that come after him shall be astonished at his day, as they that went before were affrighted. So verse 20 in the NLT says, people in the west are appalled at their fate. People in the east are horrified, right? What? Basically the destruction of America. And then you get Obadiah 1:18, the destruction of Esau, Edom as a nation of people altogether. Verse 21 says, surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So these devils don't know Yahweh. They they're going to be destroyed. Get this Revelation 12:12. That'll be that. It says, therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. And he do, because everyone is against him. All these nations that I just mentioned in Ezekiel 38, they're already saying, how long? They don't want them to take the Palestinian script, the Gaza script. They don't want them to do that. They don't want them to go into Syria. They telling Iran that they said, Iran, you can't have nukes. They're telling Turkey, you can't go into Syria. They're telling, who else they telling? They telling Russia, Russia can't go into Ukraine, right? Right over here. They telling China can't take Taiwan, right? Hey, so that's pretty much it. Lord willing, we're edified from the video. I'll say shalom to those elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.